Hello and good afternoon. This is Jim Karp and I'm with Eric Shoemaker. Good afternoon, Eric.
Good afternoon, Jim. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Hey, can you share a little bit about yourself and your career, and then we'll jump right into our topic this afternoon.
Yeah, no problem, Jim. I'm a tax principal here with Raymond. I sit in our West Michigan footprint, but I also have the honor of being in the leadership role of our private equity services group. So I spend a lot of time working with our private equity, venture capital, startup company clients that we have, and working with a lot of their portfolio groups.
Okay, great. So there's a lot of fluidity going on right now. We just had some legislation passed, and people are kind of scratching their heads saying, where do I fit in? So how can you shed some light and help us figure out all the new legislation?
Yeah, one of the keystone programs that everybody's talking about right now is this Paychecks Protection Program through the SBA 7A loan program. And you're seeing a lot of companies get very excited about this opportunity. It's a loan that you can fast track through your lending institution and potentially have a majority, if not all of it, forgiven if you meet certain hurdles about where the funds are used, primarily for payroll type expenses. One of the issues that's coming up in the private equity venture capital space, which is not necessarily a new issue, but is getting a lot of attention here currently and because of the current economic state of the world that we're sitting in, is this affiliation rule that exists under the SBA loan programs. And really where you find it is under the definition of, do you qualify for a small business? Part of the criteria under this Paychecks program is you cannot have more than 500 employees to be still considered a small business, or potentially that number is higher depending on your NICS code and where you fit. However, under the affiliation rules, if you're deemed to be an affiliate of another company, you are required to include their employees in your employee count for application purposes. So on a standalone basis, maybe you qualify, you have less than the 500 employees, but when you have to include yourself with another affiliate, you jump over that, you no longer are eligible for this loan program.
Okay, so just to make sure, if I'm a business owner and I'm in the small startup, and you talk about being an affiliate, so can you define what an affiliate is, and then how that pulls everything else in together?
Yeah, so under the SBA rules, the generic rule is essentially if any owner has 50% or greater control of the vote of you would be an affiliate of any other business that they have similar control over. And so where that's the generic rule. There is the ability for a minority owner to also be deemed to have control over your operations. And really what that gets into is some pretty specific case rulings at the SBA level, but also some guidance that they have. But essentially, if your minority owner has the ability to control day-to-day operation type level activities, setting compensation, hiring and firing employees, determining when equity distributions are going to be made, things outside uh, of the norm of what an investor would typically have control over, they will be deemed to have control over the business and pull you into these affiliation rules. So you see it coming up more under the private equity venture capital umbrella because they have a lot of safeguards. Even if they are a minority owner, the private equity fund or venture capital fund have a number of these safeguards that, on the surface, if you look at it, would violate this independence rule or this control rule, which would bring you as an affiliate under their umbrella with all of their other portfolio companies. So to your question, you could be a 50-person startup venture company, living day to day, burning cash as fast as you guys can, get it. And because of this rule, you may, be over the threshold of the size of employee count. When you look at maybe your VC backing portfolio, their portfolio group, and you may not qualify for one of these, relief programs.
Okay, now there's a lot of case law that's out there. Can we kind of dive into some of that and kind of share some of your thoughts along those lines that'll help shed some light?
Yeah. So when you get into it, a lot of the uh, control criteria that are looked at to determine whether a minority investor has control over it is all driven by the SBA appeals office hearings. So, case laws of people who have gone before that to appeal a denial of a loan. and that's where they've kind of broken out and summarized. The National Venture Capital Association has a great white paper that we have linked out on our website that walks through a lot of the case law and some things that are okay, some things that might violate the control provisions and bring you under the affiliation. But again, it really gets down to, in general, if a investor owner has control over more of what you would typically think is the C-suite executives' control of the business, day-to-day operational type decisions, they will violate the control provisions, and you'd have to look very closely at the affiliation rules.
Okay, so from what I understand is there's a whole lot of case law that's out there, so it's almost like a laundry list. And so if
Yeah.
I'm going to apply for an SBA loan and I'm a VC or the PE along those lines, what things should I be doing to make sure that I'm appropriately applying in the right fashion?
Yeah, so obviously you're going to be working with your banking relationship, filling out the application. But one of the things that we recommend is if you do have and are subject to this affiliation rule, make sure that you're spending the time to understand how it applies to you, and if there is the ability to possibly make some amendments to your governing documents to potentially get out from underneath of them. Prior to applying for the loan. So it's a lot to accomplish in a short amount of time with the, how fast people are trying to get into these loan programs. But, generally working with your attorney, your corporate attorney, and then your lending institution and your CPA to make sure you fully understand the rules and how they might apply to you is going to be time well spent.
Okay, so that's good information. So any final thoughts, closing thoughts on the topic?
These rules are not new. They have existed. You're just seeing them get a lot of attention right now because of the state of the economy. So again, if you are a portfolio company or a venture capital private equity fund itself looking to take advantage of one of these loans, you need to really take a look at these affiliation rules and make sure that there's not going to be any issues with your application as you go through that process. And we have been helping clients in that space, become educated on them, take a closer look at them, but also working with their attorneys and their bankers to make sure that they've fully vetted the opportunity that might be out there.
All right. So if I have any questions or comments and I'm out there listening to this, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah, so anybody can obviously visit our website. We've got a COVID-19 resource center where this podcast and some other documentation is available. But people can reach out directly to myself. My direct dial is 616-975-2811. But I can also be reached, as can anybody, through our Raymond website.
All right. Well, Eric, we appreciate your time and energy, and stay safe.
All right. Thank you, Jim.
Take care.